we go. I see we're online. First of all, I want to welcome everyone, and I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Parks and Community Services Commission. It is a special meeting today, June 27th. At this time, we will have our Commissioner Garcia Arcos lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, we do have a new commissioner, Brandis Ledger, and at this time, we'll have her administration of the oath of office.
Thank you. Would you kindly join me down here? Maybe right. The cameras can pick you up better. All right. Okay, I'm going to turn a little bit that way. The cameras get you better. Would you please raise your right hand? Do you, Brandis Ledger, Parks and Community Services Commissioner of the City of Costa Mesa, solemnly affirm that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that you take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which you're about to enter?
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And welcome to the commission. Thank you.
I'd like to formally welcome Commissioner Ledger to joining our commission, and we're back to a full commission, so welcome. Thank you. At this time, I will ask for public comments. Again, these are matters that are not on the agenda. So at this time, I'll start with,
We would like to start with the attendance.
oh,
Roll
I
call.
thought we did that already, but we did not. Okay, if we can get attendance. Thank you.
Commissioner Glab,
Here.
Commissioner Garcia Arcos,
Here.
Commissioner Ledger,
Here.
Commissioner Wall,
Here.
Chair Dorn Parker.
Here,
We have Commissioner Brown and Commissioner Wright absent. Thank you.
but we do have quorum.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you. Now we have roll calls, and I'll move to public comments now. So again, this is time for matters not listed on the agenda. Anybody, we'll start with anybody that is here in the audience to come on up.
Good evening. My name is Kim Hendricks, and I'm with Fairview Park Alliance. And I've come to give you, I know it's a little bit late in the year, but better late than never, a calendar of Fairview Park, and also explore the hidden magic of Fairview Park, which Priscilla Rocco has put together. These are mostly for like little kids and their families. So I know that Kelly actually has a calendar, but I don't know if anybody else does. So here's some calendars and booklets we'd like to share with you. So the more you know, the more places you'll go.
Thank you. And at this time, I'll go ahead and take the mic over here.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Juana Trejo y soy una promotora de salud aquí en el condado de Orange.
Good evening. My name is Juana Trejo. I'm one of the promoters for health and well-being here in Orange County.
Estamos representando a más de 35,000 familias
We're representing over 35,000 families,
y yo vivo aquí en Costa Mesa en el distrito número 3.
and I live here in Costa Mesa in District Number 3.
Quiero compartir con ustedes que estamos muy preocupados ahorita por la seguridad de aquí de Costa Mesa.
I would like to share with you that we are very concerned with the safety issues here in Costa Mesa, some safety issues here in Costa Mesa.
Tenemos muchos jóvenes que están metidos en drogas y pandillas y creo que necesitamos tener programas para que los jóvenes tengan una oportunidad de poder cambiar el rumbo de su vida.
We have a lot of young people here who are involved or part of either gangs or involved with drugs, and I believe that we need some programs for these young people so they could have changed their ways of life.
No queremos que nuestros niños y nuestras futuras generaciones piensen que esto es normal.
We don't want our children or our future generations to believe or to think that this is normal or normal way of living.
Ojalá que pudiéramos tener más programas educativos para que ellos puedan ver que hay otra manera diferente y positiva de vivir.
And hopefully we can have some educational programs available so they can see that there are different and better ways to live life.
Sabemos que en las últimas semanas se han perdido vidas por estar metidos en cosas que no deberían de estar.
We are also aware that in the last weeks we have lost some life. Some people have lost their lives because they were doing unlawful things or they were involved in things they should not have.
Ojalá que pudiéramos contar con el apoyo de ustedes para poder tener comunidades sanas y jóvenes comprometidos a mejorar nuestras comunidades.
Hopefully we can count with your support so we can build healthy communities and kids that are healthy and they can help with our communities.
Gracias, Dios les bendiga.
Thank you and God bless you.
We'll go ahead and take the speaker over to my left, to your right.
Good evening, Commissioners, Director, and residents of Costa Mesa. My name is Evan Carey, and I'm here speaking on behalf of families located in the State Street neighborhood. I'm here to express my concerns and suggestions regarding Moon Park. As a resident of the State Streets neighborhood, I've noticed several issues that need immediate attention to make the park a safer and more enjoyable place for everyone. Firstly, Moon Park is in dire need of updating. The current equipment is outdated, rusting, sun-faded, and in some cases unsafe. We propose a new playground with equipment to be installed in position away from the freeway to provide a safer environment for our children and less noise exposure. Additionally, the installation of a fence to separate the park from the Santa Ana River Trail would greatly enhance safety and prevent unintended access to the river trail by children using the park. The park would also benefit from the addition of a multi-purpose court that could accommodate basketball, mini soccer, or pickleball. This would provide a much-needed recreational opportunities for both children and adults in our community. This would also help reduce the number of improvised pickleball and basketball courts spread throughout the neighborhood. Security is another major concern. There's an urgent need for security lighting throughout the park. The lack of lighting makes the park unsafe, especially in the evenings. Enhanced lighting would deter inappropriate activities and ensure the park is welcoming to families at all times. I also want to bring to your attention the ongoing issue with unhoused individuals using the park for camping. While this is a complex social issue, it significantly impacts the safety and cleanliness of the park. This morning alone, there was an individual that was camped out there at 7 a.m. There have been multiple incidents of people drinking and using drugs in the park almost on a daily basis. Unfortunately, many of these individuals then leave their cans and other trash on the playground. This behavior is not only illegal, but it also creates an environment where families do not feel safe. It is disheartening to see that despite many young families moving into the neighborhood, they feel extremely unsafe using Moon Park. The park has the potential to be a central hub for our community, activities, family gatherings, but its current state is far from that vision. I urge you to prioritize the renovation of Moon Park, including new equipment, security lighting, and measures to address the issues caused by unhoused individuals. By making these improvements, we can transform Moon Park into a safe, vibrant, and welcoming space for all residents. We thank you for your time and listening to this as we address these important matters. Again, the potential there is unlimited, and we just need some help getting it to where it needs to be. I encourage you all to go out and visit Moon Park, especially in the morning. You can see the issues that we face, and then see just how it's unused. Thank you.
Thank you. And the gentleman over on this one.
Good evening. My name is Sergio Teles, and I'm with Coastal Corridor Alliance, and formerly known as Banny Ranch Conservancy. And I'm here just to share a little bit about our new vision. And so basically, a Coastal Corridor community covers Coastal Corridor extends along the Orange County coast, including parts of Hampton, Newport, and Costa Mesa along the Santa Ana River. And so recently, I'm not sure if some of you know, 387 acres were preserved, known as a Rondo Preserve, and were successfully protected from being developed. We now are partnering with the new owner to eventually, it's a work in progress, opening up these preserved areas for public access. And we want the community to be part of it, to be part of the process by giving us feedback, by giving us ideas or what they would want to see or how they would want to utilize this space while preserving the wildlife and the natural habitat. And then at Coastal Corridor, we have we have some projects and some educational nature walks and activities that we invite all the community to participate in. So we learned in some of our community nature walks, we learned about birds, animals that are natural habitat, and we also are picking up our September beach and mouth river cleanups. So we also invite the community to participate in that. And those are just some ways you can get involved and get to know what we're all about and get to know our mission and vision for as an organization. And so everyone is welcome. And if anyone has any question or anything, I'm happy to answer them after the meeting. Thank you very much for your time. And yeah, lastly, there's social media, e-newsletters if you want to sign up for that. But yeah, I'll be back there if you have any questions. Just contact me. I'll be happy to answer any question. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
I just thought I'd let you know for the first time that I'm aware of, we have flocks of swallows on both sides of the park. This is really exciting. We've never seen them out there before. If you get a chance, go check it out. It's worth it.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Hank Castagnetti. I'm current treasurer of the Orange County Model Engineers. We're the guys that run the little trains in Fairview Park. It's been a long time since I've spoken before PAX Commission, and I will try not to let that happen again. There's a whole lot of stuff I want to tell you, but just briefly, last month, we gave 3,239 free rides on Saturday and Sunday, and that pushes us for the year to just under 19,000 free rides. I spoke to a family of 7 that came down from Harupa just to ride the trains. In addition, I spoke with another family, that not as large, but they came down from Big Bear because they read somewhere online the trains were a great thing to do free on the weekend for your family. Since the beginning of 2023, the Train Club has invested nearly $100,000 in new equipment, new trains, new tracks. We painted the station, replaced the trestle. We added a new audio system that will allow us to do public service announcements. We will start producing those probably next month. We have an Audubon specialist who will give 1-minute speeches about what birds are in residence in the park at any given time, and also what plants are in bloom. We invested $2,000 in an uplink satellite dish for Starlink, so that we're going to be converting over our security system to Wi-Fi, which will give us greater enhanced ability to keep an eye on that place. So once again, come on down, third weekend every month. And if you want to see us online, it's ocmetrains.org. Thanks a lot. See you again soon.
Thank you.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Araceli Rodríguez y hoy en este día vengo a agradecerles sobre el plantío de los árboles.
Good evening. My name is Araceli Rodriguez, and I'm here this evening to thank you, to give thanks for the new trees that were planted en su vecindario.
Es sobre la Shalimar y a la Wallace. Nos gustó mucho que hicieran ese proyecto para beneficio de uno y me gustaría mirar a ver si nos pudieran ayudar en hacer más actividades para los niños y muchas gracias, nos gustó mucho su ayuda y su cooperación.
I want to think about the trees that were planted again along Wallace and Shalimar. We are very pleased. This makes us very happy, and also because this project benefits us a lot. And I would like to see if we could have maybe implement more activities and program of activities, activity programs for our kids. And we are really pleased again with the trees that were planted. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Another gentleman.
Thank you. I wasn't going to speak tonight. I didn't come to speak. When I heard the gentleman talk about the security issues, I can concur that my son Christian did 2 projects at the park 10 years ago. And I've been talking about them at the city council meetings, but if you want to go back and look at the last 5 meeting YouTubes or Channel 3s. But I was last there D-Day in the Sage Scrub area. And in that area, there are 2 bushes that we've seen homeless or unhoused people use for shelter overnight to sleep in or whatever. And frequently we find smoking materials, empty lighters, other paraphernalia related to, let's just say, smoking use. And I know they're there recently because the last time I was there, under the one bush in particular, I found a bus pass dated May 14th. This year. So they're frequently, and they do have cut a path through his area there that's it's always been a nuisance because they're trampling on the little sages that are trying to grow. But the other thing, I guess I should, since I have time, we've basically been banned from the park now after 10 years of pulling mustard basically on both of his Sage Scrub and Coastal Live Oak projects. After we had a conference with, Christian and I had a conference with Brian Gruner, the new director of parks, and then Kelly Dalton, the Fairview Park administrator. And over our objections, since we've been there for 10 years doing, we think, a good job, they elected to say, no, you can't go into those areas anymore. We think you might be harming gnat catchers or stepping on, I don't know, whatever. And we were actually trained by the endemic ICRE president, Barry Nairhouse, originally. And we've actually trained the people that have come to help us. So we were very familiar with all the restrictions on what we can do in the park. But over those objections, they decided that no, we shouldn't be in the park anymore. And in the Coastal Live Oak Tree project, I think they've turned it over to endemic and ICRE to maintain. But with the Sage Scrub project, I don't know what they're going to do there. But I'm afraid if you watch these areas over the next few years, you're going to see mustard intrusion and return to something that looks like the areas that surround his Sage Scrub area. If you go up there, you'll see on the south end of his project where the city's and endemics projects have failed. They're in mustard, 12 feet tall that have dried up and gone. And it's just, I'm not going to say what it is, but you can look at it. You can draw your own opinion of what's going on there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. Cynthia McDonald, Costa Mesa resident. I wanted to follow up on the comments by Ms. Trejo because earlier this week there was a tagging on one of the walls of the Mesa Del Mar neighborhood on Fairview Road, and it was a tagging by a West Side gang member. And I haven't seen that for a long time in my neighborhood, and so that was really kind of a red flag as to all the problems that we're having with gangs, resurgence of gangs in town. So it's very concerning. Another thing I wanted to comment on was Paularino Park. Paularino Park is my park, that's my neighborhood. I never go there. I won't take my 4-year-old grandson there. Not many people use the park. I see, when I go by on my bike, I do see some evidence of homeless activity in the park, but really not too many moms, taking their kids and playing in the equipment. Mainly, I don't take my grandson there because there isn't a restroom. He's 4 years old, They have to go potty all the time. The other day I had him out and he said, "Mimi, I have a potty emergency. I got to go right now." Well, if you have a potty emergency in Paularino Park, you're not going to be using a restroom. There is none. If you have a toddler and you need to change a diaper, there's no place. There's no changing table. That's a really big concern for parents and grandparents taking their kids to the park. So I would love to see the restrooms restored. They were taken out because of xenophobia on the part of a former school principal and a man that I call the racist of Costa Mesa. Did not want the people in the apartments using that park. The school grounds were fenced off. We no longer have access to the school grounds. And it's time to return the use of that small park and the use of the school grounds to the residents because we greatly need it. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, do we have anybody on the remote?
If there are any Zoom members who wish to speak on items not pertaining to the agenda, please raise your hand. Chair, there are no hands raised.
Thank you. So this closes the public comments for matters not listed on the agenda. And right?
We have,
Oh, we have one more. Oh, I didn't. You didn't jump fast enough.
Yeah,
All right,
sorry.
let's keep going.
Hi, my name's Eric Roberts. I just wrote down my comments because I want to be brief because we got a long meeting tonight. First of all, congrats to Commissioner Ledger. It was great to see that we had so many applicants. I think it was 7 or 8. That was a surprise to me. That was great since we've had problems in the recent past this decade with enough applicants for committees and commissioners. So great, congratulations. And we'll see what happens in January too. Hopefully you'll get reappointed. I'm on the Fairview Park Steering Committee, and this will serve as my report as well to your commission. To keep it brief, we haven't met since April. We just had capital improvement updates and projects of that nature, and our big focus obviously is on the master plan update as well for Fairview Park. So I want to invite the commission, city staff, everyone, including all these in the audience as well. So thank you for coming to this meeting. Please come again the 10th of July, which is a Wednesday at 6 p.m. On the other side of the building, the community building, we'll be having our Fairview Park Steering Committee meeting at that time. We're going to have a similar, hopefully evolved presentation about the master plan update from MIG and a great discussion. We have enough room to have everybody, and we have a lot of great dialogue. And Mr. Gruner, our director, will take care of you with how many we get. Well, one way or another, we're going to house everybody. One other thing. I want to preemptively agree with the Commissioner Arcos on that we should have native trees for these two parks, the Ketchum and Shalimar parks. I've been at these commission meetings before, and I see trees there. I don't see what's listed as far as going to be those trees or what they're selecting. And we'll get to that point on the parks, but also on the great renderings. The trees are listed on the north and east sides, which don't give a whole lot of shade for the hotter times of day of south and west. Just wondering about that. So we'll have a comment and suggestion on that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And am I missing anybody else in here? No, and nobody else online? Okay. At this time, then we'll move to commissioner comments or suggestions, and I'll start with Commissioner Wall.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Glad to see everyone. I wasn't expecting to be here, but I had a vacation cancel on me, and as a result, I was in town, so I'm here. A couple of things. First of all, I want to give a shout out to the first responders that reacted to the fire at Fairview Park on the 23rd. There was a massive effort thrown against that fire, and it was pretty persistent because it lasted a lot longer than I found out that it was. But I just really want to give props to those guys driving those helicopters and all the guys and ladies that were on the ground tending to that fire and did what they could to tamp it down as fast as they could. And talking to Kelly earlier this evening, he was telling me about some of the aftermath of that. And so there's a lot of work to be done, but for the short run, I just want to acknowledge the effort that was thrown against that fire. Next thing, there seems to be more issues cropping up with dogs off leash. There was a piece in Costa Mesa Buzz, one of the Facebook pages. A lady was really distressed by a dog that was off leash that was attacking squirrels in Wilson Park. And while some people may not care much about the squirrels themselves, that's not the kind of thing you want to see a child to see a dog attacking another animal and taking it to its death. And so I know there's been a lot of dialogue about dogs off leash. I think we should continue that dialogue and try to find some workable solutions because we have to be responsible in how we own our dogs. There's certainly the bark park where you can take them, but it's still an expectation that the dog be maintained on a leash. So I just wanted to bring that up, talk about that as we need to. Actually, I got Mr. Carey's email that he sent to the city a day or so ago, and I actually went over to Moon Park this afternoon to take a look. I was prompted to do that because I think he brings up some real good points, so I wanted to go take a look for myself. Some of the things that came out of his memo spoke to the lighting, which I noticed that there were 4, maybe 5 of the new LED light stanchions around the park. As you get over into the southwest corner of that park, you could probably use some more because when we get to the time of year when it gets darker earlier, that could be an issue. And I actually met a family with their 2 young kids riding their bikes around the park. So I actually spoke to him, gave him my card, and even though this is District 1, which is Scott's neck of the woods, I just did it because it seemed like the right thing to do. So there will be ongoing dialogue about that park. Frankly, it's beautiful. It's kind of roly-poly with the green hills over there. It's a nice footprint there. So I think we can do some things to get it where we want it to, where the community will appreciate the work that's been done, and it'll be a place that's attractive for families. And that is it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. At this time, Commissioner Ledger.
I do want to thank everyone for the opportunity for me to be here and the warm reception I received, but as I'm still learning, I don't have any further comments.
That's fine. Then I'll keep going. So Commissioner Garcia Arcos.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for making it out today. Just wanted to thank all the speakers. I've had the opportunity to work with Sergio Tellez Teles and Juana Trejo in the past, and they've done great work. So I want to echo as well that there are issues that we need to, you know, mention. For example, like the stabbing that happened. The details are not very clear, but you know, we unfortunately know some of the families that were, you know, affected by that, and the whole community was affected. So, just wanted to bring that up. And I did also want to thank the city for collaborating for May 18th. Love Costa Mesa Day was a success. I didn't have the chance to mention that before. We planted 55 fruit trees, and the city planted about 11, 12 trees. And you know, right now they're thriving. They're producing fruits because that was the goal. And then we had OC Farm Supply donate some stuff as well, and the Heritage Museum as well came out with their staff, and we had a few hundred people coming in and out for our event just in Shalimar. So that was amazing to see the collaboration there. I also wanted to encourage anybody, if you're interested in preservation. I had the opportunity to go do some research with Ancient Forest Society, so we were able to go and climb trees, the sequoias, for 2 weeks straight, and they're doing great work. So if you guys want to check them out, they're great people. And then another organization that I also am a part of is Arboleros, which is an organization that helps with safety and education for Spanish-speaking individuals with the WCISA, which is abbreviation for West Coast International Society of Arboriculture. So if you guys want to check them out, again, thank you all for coming out, and those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. And at this time, Commissioner Glab.
Yes, I just wanted to piggyback off Commissioner Wall's comments and thank Mr. Carey for coming down and sharing his concerns and issues with Moon Park. And I'm just hoping that Mr. Gruner and Mr. Ryan can meet with him and kind of address some of the neighborhood's concerns about the park. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I don't have any of my commissioner report or comments. And then at this point, there has been no old business. So we'll move to our new business, which is proposed design improvements. At this time, I believe we'll go ahead and do the presentation, then we'll take public comments, and then commissioner comments. Okay.
Chair Don Parker and Commissioners, we're glad to present to you this item on Ketchum-Leibold Park. We have split this in two parts. One will be handled by Tony Dodero, our Public Affairs Manager. He'll go over the outreach, followed by our consultant who will talk about the park concept plans. I just want to point out that the park is funded by $1.2 million state grant that we received from Assemblywoman Cardi Petrie Norris, so we're grateful for that. So with that, Mr. Dodero? Yes.
Good evening. Good evening, Chair. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry. They need to turn it on. Too. Sorry for the fumbling here. So you were supposed to get our new community outreach manager, Brock Coward, but he's not available tonight. So unfortunately, you have me here. I'll do my best to manage through this. But what I'm here to talk about is some of the outreach that we did for both Ketchum-Leibold and Shalimar. I'll just focus on Ketchum-Leibold right now and move to the Shalimar later. But the efforts that we underwent was a new project website that we created. There was neighborhood canvassing that we did with our constituent services team. We engaged community partners to help us get the word out. We had multiple social media posts and e-notifications, and it was in our weekly newsletter, Snapshot newsletter. We worked with the local schools to also get the word out and nearby businesses. And then we posted messaging at the actual park and afterwards did a survey asking people for their input. So in total for Ketchum Live we had 30 attendees at the most recent meeting. And so that's really all I have just to talk about. So, okay.
So at this point, I'll invite Kay Kite. She's our consultant with Architera to go over the presentation of the park concept.
She wants the clicker.
Oh, here, let me turn the podium mic on.
Yeah, this one.
I'll wait for the presentation to come up. And I'll make this brief. I know we don't want to be here all night, so I'm going to kind of skip through some of the slides that you probably have in the staff report and have seen before. So after we met with the city to go over what the city wants and what the survey from the local community had, we went over to the park to take a look at what was out there and what we felt going out there. And we did a site survey of the existing park. And the things we've noticed, first thing you notice is there's a large concrete area. It has some hopscotch and some chess areas painted on it, but you can tell it's not really utilized that well except for the mobile recreation van. There's a large tree in the back, the eucalyptus tree that provides some shade, and it's obviously very visible to the community. However, it drops a lot of seed pods, a lot of leaves, and those trees are known for dropping branches as well and can become a safety issue. The play area is tucked into the back, cut off and surrounded by at least 3 walls. I myself, in the middle of the afternoon, was uncomfortable being back there because there's no visibility and it's just kind of a dark area. And the turf area itself, it's small, you can't really play some games on it. There's trees in the middle of it that interrupt running around. In front of the wall that separates the park from Victoria Avenue, you have a large landscape area that is really not utilized. It doesn't provide much to the community. A lot of the landscape is not doing well because of the pine trees are poisoning the ground beneath them. So based on our observations at the site and our meetings with the city, we came up with 2 concepts on how to improve this park, make it more accessible, more usable. Our first concept is based on the Eagle 2 call sign for the fallen officers for which this park is named. We leaned into it a little bit with more of a nature theming with the greens and the browns and the tans and trees and logs. There are 2 play areas, one for the 5 to 12-year-olds and one for the 3 to 5-year-olds. The play area has been moved to near to the corner, where we have also moved the entrance to welcome in the neighbors to the south and the west, which currently are cut off from the park. The turf area is in back, and to the east we've expanded it in front of the wall there, where we have a native garden with a DG pathway. In the first iteration, we kept the existing eucalyptus tree. In this iteration, we pulled it out and we expanded the grass area out there, giving more room for open play, put in a large shade tree to replace that eucalyptus. And you can see here we've taken the existing archway, moved it to the corner, invited all of the surrounding neighborhoods in. We're retaining paving at the back for the mobile recreation, but we're making it more decorative, more stamped, more with that nature theme.
Can you wait just a minute? We're not seeing, okay, yeah. We were having trouble seeing what you were talking about.
Okay.
Okay, so
You want me to
now.
go back a couple, or we?
Does everybody have it looks more like a photography, okay.
Okay.
Thank
No
interrupt you,
problem.
but I knew we weren't seeing what you were seeing.
Okay.
Okay.
So as I was saying, we brought the entryway to the corner to bring in all the neighborhoods to the north, the south, the west. We still have the paving up in the north for the mobile recreation van, but we've made it more decorative, less of just a big concrete pad. And in the back, we have a sculpture garden with some art interactive panels to keep that back corner from becoming unusable and just kind of a forgotten planter area. The second option, we leaned more towards a coastal sunset option with the colors trending more towards the blue. We have pushed the play area to the back. It's one complete play area, even though we do have 2 different sections, one for 5 to 12-year-olds and one for 2 to 5-year-olds, and swings, because we know the community definitely wants swings here. We still have the paving in the back for the mobile recreation unit, but we've added a mosaic to kind of make it a little more attractive when the mobile recreation van is in place there.
Okay, we don't see, we're having trouble seeing that slide. Yeah, we're not seeing that. Yeah, it keeps trying, but we don't see that. Let me try that again.
It's kind of glitching on our end up here.
I tried updating right now, like a refresh, so let's see if that helps.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. Thanks, Laura. That did help.
And you'll notice on both of these layouts that there is fencing along the perimeter of the park. In the play areas and the more passive areas, it's a low 42-inch tall fence with decorative mesh along the bottom so that it doesn't look like you're being enclosed in the park, but it does prevent kids from just running out into the street. And in the turf areas where we might have balls flying around, we've added an element on top.
Yeah. I apologize to the audience. We can't see what you're seeing on the slide.
I just tried setting it up. Would you guys want to sit in the audience to maybe see in the bigger screen? Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay, and the conceptual design part. So if we go there, got it. Oh, and here we can make it bigger. Okay. Yep. Thank you. I just want to make sure the commissioners, did you find it on the agenda and click on it? Whoops. Yeah. So it's, isn't that strange?
I can try like exiting the system and then refreshing it. I'm not entirely sure why.
What's going on? You know, it might be better to, because it's a long agenda, can everybody get to the agenda the way Commissioner Glab recommended? Yeah. So why don't we keep, yeah. So I think we can do,
Chair Don Barker,
yeah.
a suggestion.
Okay.
Do you want to take a 10-minute break? Maybe we print out a few copies of the presentation and give it to you?
Well, I think if everyone, and I just want to make sure all the commissioners can get to their agenda and see it, it sounds like everybody's okay to use the agenda and not the presentation. So why don't we continue?
Okay, I will note that some of these images aren't on the agenda. but-
Exactly, they're not in the report. That's why.
Oh,
Not all
that's
of the.
why.
Yeah. So if you want, we can make some printouts and bring it to you. It's only 5 printouts, so we can make that.
So I'm going to ask staff.
Chair, do you want to call for a break?
Yeah, if we can just take a little break.
That
and then
might be better. So
some
that
printouts, yeah.
So what we're seeing isn't what's on the agenda. It's additional information.
Right, this is a separate presentation that's not, sorry.
Okay,
you know,
so I need a
relating with the,
motion to
agenda
take a
report.
short recess. Do I have a motion? And we have a motion, and I have a second. And then if you, we'll just say yes if you accept that, and then we'll be back. What, do you need, like maybe 10 minutes? Okay, so we'll make a 10-minute, and those in favor say aye? Aye. Okay, we'll have a 10-minute break. Thank you. Everybody for being patient. Do I need to do this again? Okay. So at this time, oh, that's right, I have a gavel. At this time, I'll ask everyone to take their seats. It seems we have a backup of a PDF for the presentation, so we'll go ahead and continue. So you were at option 2, the coastal concept.
Option 2, the coastal
When
concept.
everything froze
Do a
up.
quick recap. Play areas in the back, turf is up front, butterfly garden in front of the residences. And here we've also moved the entry to the corner, but we've offset it a little bit because right now there's 2 large trees growing there that are in good condition. And if we put it in the center, we would have to take out both of those trees. So we offset the entryway to keep both of those trees. They're a great entryway to the park.
Great.
And again, you can see the fencing up here, the taller fencing where the turf area is with the artistic element on top, with the lower fencing over by the play area. We've got the shade shelters over by the play area and in back by where the mobile recreation is. The theming here is a little more whimsical, a little more brightly colored than the nature theming. And these are the 2 themes that we presented to the community on May 8th at the in-person meeting, along with some materials boards where you can see the fencing again, the shade structures, and the mosaic. At the community meeting, we first asked the residents to pick between the 2 park layouts. And we emphasized that they were picking between the layout, not the theme. Any theme could be applied to the layouts. And overwhelmingly, the citizens voted for option 2. They want the play area in the back, the grass up front.
Yep.
Then we asked them to pick a theme for the park. And again, overwhelmingly, it was police and first responders and whimsical. So they weren't really interested in the nature and garden theme or the oceans and beaches theme. Then we asked them what kind of elements they wanted in their playground: slides, spinners, swings, movement like your zip rails or your teeter-totters, and additional things they wanted in the park: the overhead shade. They do like the animals and insects and nature, but they didn't want the whole park themed that way. And they also really liked the butterfly garden. So using all of that, we took option 2, modified it a little bit to address their concerns. Right now, you still see the same matting colors, and that's because we're working with the play manufacturer to get a police-themed playground. It's going to be a little bit custom because police-themed is obviously not very popular. And once we get that, we'll change the matting to match it. We have the butterfly garden over to the east, again, the shade near the play areas and the mobile recreation. We have added boulders along the streetscape because one thing the citizens did tell us is they are concerned about street takeovers and out-of-control cars possibly going into the park. So we've added boulders to kind of catch the cars or at least slow them down before they hit the park. We also heard that they liked having that back corner activated with the sculpture garden, so we could integrate the animals and insects and art back in that area and have it active and have it useful instead of just a play area. And this is the conceptual plan we present to the commission for approval. Any questions?
Thank you. Let me go back to the agenda. At this time, we'll take community comments or the audience comments. So anybody in the audience that would like to speak about the proposed design of Ketchum-Leibold Park, please come on up.
Good evening again, Cynthia McDonald, Costa Mesa resident. You know, I see some really great amenities in the park. I think it's going to draw more people in. It's going to get them to stay and play. There are the picnic tables. But what's missing? Restrooms, changing tables. If you're going to have a picnic, you want to be able to wash your hands before you eat. So just because it's a small park doesn't mean people won't stay there longer and use the park, which is what we want. But please, one non-gender restroom with a changing table and a place to wash your hands. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else? I see you this time. Come on up. You don't have to run.
6'2", I don't know how you don't see me, but that's all right. I'm surprised no one else is chiming in about this. The renderings look wonderful. My question was, what is the sort of definition of whimsical? What does that mean exactly?
So at this time with public comments, it's your time to make public comments, and maybe one of the commissioners will ask the question or
Okay.
follow up with you.
Sure, yeah. Someone asked what whimsical is. It seems like because the Officer Ketchum died in 1987, that this is a tribute to him, that it will be law enforcement themed. So even though whimsical got more votes, it seems like law enforcement themed is going to win the day as far as colors and themes. The other question was, I forget now. Oh, the height of the sort of walls around the street. I think that, and those were see-through. If I remember correctly on the law enforcement suggestions in the agenda item, they wanted those to be able to be, they could see through so they can see what's going on in there, day, night, what have you. It doesn't, I don't think it was specified in that rendering. It's only a sort of aerial view. And it seems like the two park renovations going on, maybe perhaps they could learn from each other, because we have great aerial views of this Ketchum Park, but Shalimar is more at on the ground.
At this time, it's just Ketchum-Leibold.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. I'm suggesting they could be nice to have both. On the ground view as well of Ketchum as rendered.
Okay.
There's only above. So in the future, I'm just suggesting that. Yeah, but it looks great. I'm looking forward to those park renovations when they happen. Thank you.
Thank you. And I see we have another gentleman.
Evening, Ralph Tabota, longtime resident. Compliment the city on their outreach to the public. Seems like they made a good effort to receive public comment. I also wanted to second Cynthia McDonald's comments about the restrooms. The design is geared towards younger kids also, and they need bathrooms as well as adults, but it makes a park much more utilitarian and useful if it has a bathroom, especially if there is a picnic area. You do want some running water there. I understand that adds to the cost, but it makes, again, the park a lot more useful, a lot more beneficial to the public to actually have a bathroom there. And I would encourage that to be added to the design. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Terry Fuquay. One more comment. I didn't hear any mention of a drinking fountain in there. I think that's a must in any park. Thanks.
Thank you. And I see no more comments here. Do we have any from the audience online?
If there are any members who wish to speak, please raise your hand. Chair, I see no hands raised.
Thank you. At this time, I'll open it up for commissioner comments and questions. And this time, I'll go over and start to my right, Commissioner Glad.
No comments.
Or questions?
Oh, questions? Sure. Mr. Ryan, was there a reason they didn't put bathrooms in at that park, or is it just the cost?
So adding restrooms would be quite an additional cost. It would also take up play area, potential play area. So those two factors, getting water and getting sewer into that location, would be quite costly.
Okay, thank you.
In addition, it's the size of the park. It's very, very small. It's about quarter acre, or it's a very small size park to accommodate a restroom.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Garcia.
I have also a question. So the pine trees are poisoning the grounds. Can you explain how that's happening, please?
I can answer that question. It's not necessarily poisoning the ground, but pine trees, the dropping pine needles have an ability to, they have a natural kind of herbicide, if you will, that they release in the ground. It does make growing anything below that canopy extremely difficult. I think that's what
our design group was alluding to.
Yeah, just to reiterate, pine trees and oak trees as well released chemicals into the ground that discourage growth, except for a very few plants that are adapted to them. So if you have pine trees in the area, a lot of times you'll see nothing growing underneath them, and that's because they've changed the chemical composition of the soil to not be favorable to plant growth.
Just kind of adding to that, shouldn't we try to preserve established trees, healthy established trees? Especially, I'm not sure, do you know how old they might be by any chance? Just kind of give it the age.
I don't have an age on those particular trees. I would guess probably 40 years old. I think, one of the things that we're looking to do is obviously have open space to play, provide more green space to play. Expanding that park and retaining those trees would be problematic, as there'd be a lot of root disturbance. Keeping those trees in place through that construction phase, the root disturbance could pose a problem for those trees and potentially a liability for the city down the road.
Great answer. Thank you.
Is that it? All right, then I'll go to Commissioner Ledger.
I don't have any questions or comments at this time.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Wall.
And just kind of a follow-up on the question about the restrooms. Is there a rule of thumb about what size a park could be or should be before you consider an installation of a restroom?
I don't know exact square footage, but it has to be significantly larger than what we have right now. Not many, very few of our parks have full restroom. I think it's almost an acre size is what I'm thinking, is where I think it makes sense.
Okay, just trying to get a gauge on what that threshold is as to when you might consider doing that.
In parks in general, I don't have the size like Raja says, but usually, when you go into pocket parks, community parks, neighborhood parks, they all grow within size, and the smaller ones, you try to maximize your play space. Stuff like pocket parks, I know we're talking about Ketchum and Shalimar, but those were pretty close to pocket-sized parks neighboring on, these little community parks. And so that's, just to give some kind of realm of the scale of parks.
Okay, thanks.
Right, at this time, we don't have any restrooms in a park that's less than like 2.5 acres.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions for you? Okay, so I just have a few questions. The one thing I keep seeing is we know that our summers are hotter, the sun is hotter. Why have we not designed, and maybe it's the major, because so many of the kids love swings heat up. Why do we not have any sort of shade structure over any of our swing sets? And I noticed in both of these designs, you have lots of shade, like a shade structure over the area and where seating. So is there a reason to not put shade on over swing sets?
And that's just kind of a function of using standard equipment that they have in their library to do the rendering. We are going to include integrated shade, so most of the plague area will be shaded, including the swings.
Okay, so the swings will?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, because that was a concern I would have. The other question I have is one of the items, and I know it has to do with water, but I know as we're trying to have people bring, have water bottles they can refill, is there a drinking fountain that's in, I think there is a drinking fountain on this one. I just want to make sure, and it has the ability to be able to refill like reusable bottles. Is that correct?
There is a drinking fountain currently. I'm not sure if it can refill bottles, but we're planning on replacing the drinking fountain because it's in a little rough shape, and putting a new one in the same place with a bottle filler.
Okay, so that's part of that. The other one is, I know having raised my kid in Costa Mesa and all my kids in all the little parks around there, none of them had restrooms, and I know how difficult it is to hurry up, and especially these are little pocket neighborhood parks, and the assumption is you'll be able to get home really quickly around the corner a couple blocks away. But has restrooms ever been generally what's requested? I do know that's sort of opening up a can of worms. We have people in the city who have connected with me that want all the restrooms shut down because they believe it brings in elements that shouldn't be there. Then we have those who really believe that's just part of a basic park amenity. So is there anything when we do, because the outreach was phenomenal. I saw those signs at the park. That's one thing that the commission has been really clear on is why don't you ask the people who are using the park what they want in the park versus, just, and I really appreciate the effort that went in and the modalities, but I wasn't sure if restrooms are on there because I know when I'm working with, Jordan Park and Brentwood and some of the other ones, they do not want restrooms, the community surrounding it, but we have people who visited who do. So I'm just curious to see if restrooms are a general, as we're expanding our parks and having these lovely opportunities, whether we can include whether or not they would, that's a priority, kind of list it for them, because it is.
So during our outreach meetings, Commissioner Don Parker, the residents did not ask for a restroom as one of the required amenities.
Because it's an
up.
open, what would you like? And so that tends to be not what the amenity is that they want.
Yeah.
They want shade, okay, that's nothing.
They
Okay.
wanted park area and, yeah.
Yeah, okay, as far as that goes. The other thing I'm asking is, because it was brought up by Eric here, have we identified the tree species we're going to put in to make sure that they're native type of trees that fit well with play areas and things? Has that been identified, or that will be after
That
we
will be
decide?
once we start the construction drawings, we'll identify what trees work well with the play area. And a lot of native trees, especially California native trees, don't work well in the play area. They tend to be low branching, they tend to have thorns and be dangerous around kids.
Right.
We will try to include as much as possible as can be used around that area, but we also have to think of the safety of the kids as well.
Yeah. And then the other question, have you asked, because I know one of the issues that everybody's bringing up, and everyone knows I'm sort of a broken record, dogs off leash, pickleball opportunities for play. So one of the questions that of some of the families have come to me that a lot of parks are now including is sort of low fencing around a play area. So that's because it's so close to Victoria and so close to streets, is whether or not that was considered. We know this park, especially when you put the new grass in, I think that might attract people walking their dogs. Has that ever been part of this concept, is sort of have a low fence, especially around the toddler lot, where toddlers like screech and run?
Because of the cramped nature of this park, it's so small, adding in another fence kind of portions it. So we did add a fence around the perimeter, especially for the safety of Victoria Avenue, but we didn't want to add one inside the park to cut it off and kind of section it. We wanted more of an open, inviting
Like the open
feel.
concept.
Yeah.
But let's say 2 years from now, we realize that is a park that has an issue. Is there space to be able to put in some sort of fencing for a toddler lot? Because that seems to be what a lot of grandparents and parents are now realizing. People are having their dogs are running off leash. We're trying really hard to deal with this as best we can. We really have great park commissioners, we have great ambassadors, but you still have issues of dogs running into the playground. So is that a concept that could be added? And if you can't answer that right now, but that might be something that we want to continue to look at as we have these new park concepts.
There is room in this concept to add fencing if we want to pursue that.
Okay.
We made sure that there's plenty of room in the walkways in the play area so we could squeeze a little bit for the fencing.
Okay. I don't know if that'll be an issue, but I just know that this is, as it's been brought up now, once again this time, especially with Moon Park and some of these other parks, it is becoming, it's not getting solved. And so we need to look at it a different way. So thank you. I think those are my questions at this point. Okay. Let me go look. Uh-oh. Okay. And do we have any other comments from staff? Yes.
Just one quick question.
Yes.
What are the next steps?
So the next steps are to the City Council for their formal approval of the concept before the consultant will proceed with the construction design and drawings. So we hope to take it to council in July. So that's the plan right now. And then we hope to be under construction by January of next year.
So my question as chairs is, because we're making a recommendation, but do we need a formal vote of what it is we're recommending to the council? Is that correct? I just want to
Yes.
confirm that. Okay, which is great. So what the staff is recommending is option 2 with a change of theme from what the drawings originally were to more the law enforcement to honor who who the officers were there, and then also with those color changes and some of the updates. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So at this time then, if I can have a motion from a commissioner, that is that you would approve of the staff recommendation. Is the motion, is that activated? Oh, here, now it's activated. So I need to have someone make a motion?
I have Commissioner Glab. Do we have a second?
I'm clicking it.
I clicked second. Did it work?
No. So Commissioner Ledger, right?
Seconded,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, great.
Commissioner
So I
Ledger.
can make a manual vote. Give me one
So
moment for that.
Commissioner Glab made the motion and Commissioner, yeah, it shows Wall, but we're going to have Commissioner Ledger take it, so which is great. And if there's any other questions or comments right now, I'll go ahead and ask for a vote. So then you vote yes or no. We're ready for the vote.
It's not letting us vote.
I don't think it's working.
You may vote on your dais. If not, I can do a manual vote.
The dais.
I'm not sure
I don't
what's
think that,
happening.
yeah, the dais machinery isn't working.
Dead.
Okay.
Okay, were you able
Let's
to
see.
vote? No. Technology today.
Let's check. Let's see. Okay. Second. All right. Commissioner Glab,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia Arcos,
Yes.
Commissioner Ledger,
Yes.
Commissioner Wall,
Yes.
motion carry, oh, sorry, Chair
Chair.
Jordan Parker.
Is yes.
Motion carries 5-0 to approve the recommendation of option 2.
Okay, great. So now we'll go to proposed design of Shalimar Park, and at this time, we'll do the presentation. We'll see whether or not our technology works here. Oh, now it just went on. The gremlins are loose. So at this point, we'll go ahead to open about Shalimar Park.
Thank you, Chair Don Parker and Commissioners. So this one is on Shalimar Park. Again, we are very glad to have a grant funding from state through this time State Senator David Min. So with that, I'll have Tony Rodero make a brief presentation on our outreach, followed by our consultant, Community Works Design Group, and Alicia. So with that, Mr. Rodero. Yeah.
So again, I'm going to give just a real brief overview of the community outreach and engagement we did. Like Ketchum Liebolt, we employed similar outreach methods, but also made some adjustments for the Shalimar meeting. We had a project website also and multiple social media posts. We shared the flyer through the Shalimar Learning Center, which is right across the street from the park, and Whittier Elementary School. Oh, now you guys are all voting.
Yep, we're voting again.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay. Boy, this is a ghost in the machines tonight. All right. So we also canvassed the neighborhood twice, and 1 week prior in the morning of the meeting, also with our constituent services team. And we ended up with about 115 to 130 residents, and one maybe magic potion on that was that we hired a food truck, and we created a fun atmosphere at the park with music and the mobile rec team to attract all the kids from the neighborhood. So that was our outreach. Again, I'm here to answer any questions you might have about that, but we'll switch over to the presentation now.
Great.
And let's see. Which one is it? This one? Okay. And you should be good.
My name's Annalicia Escobar Gomez, and I'm the Director of Community Engagement with Community Works Design Group, and we were hired for the Shalimar Park renovation and expansion. So I'll go through. So to piggyback on what we were saying about the community engagement, we ended up presenting 3 conceptual plans and a handful of amenity boards that were interactive. at the event. The first board and concept is seen here. So the biggest takeaways from the very initial community engagement process for Shalimar Park was a desire for swings, looking at opportunities to provide traffic calming in the cul-de-sac, and then also looking for opportunities to add shade and potentially an open lawn area and keeping playground equipment. So this first iteration looked at occupying some of the cul-de-sac space as a potential future phase to add extra amenities. Part of this also includes a bulb out of the park and a speed table / crosswalk for the students and youth that attend the little after-school program so that they can safely access the park. The second option included an additional amenity, which was the handball court. That was something that was desired by the community, and as you'll see later on, we developed that into a mini pitch soccer because that was more desirable than the handball court. The third option looked at kind of keeping what was remaining in the same kind of layout. It's a very small park to pack a lot of these amenities in. It's 0.17 acres, which is really itty bitty, and because it's faces, we have 2 apartment buildings facing it, and it's a very tight residential area. We do not have restrooms for that reason. The outreach event, we had, like he was saying, it had over 100 participants. Commissioner Garcia Argos was there too. So we had a great time meeting with the community and really hearing a lot of people's feedback in both Spanish and English. The amenity options that we provided, we had an interactive process where everyone got stickers to vote, happy face, sad face, and meh faces. So we presented different options because we really wanted, since this is essentially everyone's backyard, we wanted to really see how people wanted to have that look aesthetically. As you'll see here, we have the results from the community engagement, which also included an online survey. However, I think we got the bulk of everyone at the event since there was only one online survey respondent. But you can see here all the stickers, and soccer was an obvious, very clear win for the community. So that's something that we looked to integrate as we moved forward in the process. Everyone was more interested in, keeping slides, keeping playground structures that would allow the kids to really have fun and engage for long periods of time. In terms of shade structures, everyone opted for more natural versus, because there is such a limited space in that park. For the monument signs and swings, which were really popular, one element that we looked at adding, because swings do take up a really large footprint, is adding benches that also move as well and provide shade. And so that's something that made it into the final concept plan and that the community was really happy with. For theming and mosaics, there's currently community-made tiles along some of the walls at the Shalimar Park. So we're looking for ways to optimize that since Costa Mesa is the city of the arts. So one of it was looking at options to incorporate those and additional ones into the seat walls. And then also playing on the themes of arts and creativity. One of the things too, since soccer, all of the kids especially were very excited about the prospect of having some sort of soccer playing opportunity. That ended up making it to the final plan and kind of leading the theme. And then the community also wanted calming colors and elements that would make it a very peaceful place. So Plan A was developed. That includes the soccer bollards and a lot of the things that the community can see that actually made it to the final realm. And so one of those was the mini pitch soccer in the back. In meeting with the police department, one of the concerns was currently the back of the park is open to the alleyway. This would eliminate that access. And so, and then also we made sure that everything was open and the line of sight was visible all the way through the back. So this Plan A option includes the covered swings at the front, a small picnic area and the playground, and then also the covered gliders, bench seatings, along with the mini pitch soccer. So we really were able to cram a lot of amazing amenities for the community into a very small space. The Plan B option includes an open lawn area. That was something that in meeting with Parks was desired for the mobile rec opportunities and also desired for the community. So this option also includes the covered swings as well, but does include an open lawn area at the front of the park. On both sides of the park, there's green screening, so that incorporates the elements of noise and visual barriers for the residents and provides some privacy too for the park users as well. So Plan B with the open lawn option is what the city had met with and decided to move forward with. So that includes an open monument sign and incorporating the soccer theming throughout, but not in an overly overt way, but outside of the soccer balls in the front. So part of that is this short fencing is designed with hexagons. So we kind of incorporated the hexagon shape throughout the park to evoke the soccer ball feel. We also incorporated a lot of security lighting, which was a concern. And those security lights have the opportunity to also incorporate security cameras. So we'll continue to work with the police department on that. So the play area, you see the covered swings as well as the covered gliders, and then the mini pitch in the back along with the play equipment. And then again at night so that you can see part of the mini pitch too, there's an opportunity to include a half-court basketball hoop so that kids can, in addition to practicing foot skills and pretending like, you know, they're messy, and they can also play like the soccer and play basketball as well. So this is this is something that we also incorporated. This looks like chain link, but it's actually netting. So this is all like very durable netting, and so that will keep the noise element down. That's in the back of the park as well, so when balls hit the fence. And then in this option too, there's an opportunity we can include a drinking fountain in the back portion over here. And then again at night. And then this is the view looking out to the street from the back of the park. And that's what we have for you guys.
Okay, we're going through, because it's going on and off, so I see everybody going through. Why we're going through all this, at this time, I'll open up the mic to public comments for people in the audience. Does anybody would like to make comments? Okay.
Ralph Tabota, longtime resident. In all due respect to staff, I don't think the size of park should dictate whether there's a bathroom or no bathroom. It seems to me a bathroom should be dictated on who your clientele is. And the clientele for this park seems to be younger children. And younger children, well, obviously everybody, but bathrooms are needed for younger children. And that should be the deciding factor, not the size of a park. I'm kind of disappointed nobody asked what the cost would be. I think that's a legitimate question to ask from a commissioner. What's the size of, or what's the cost? And granted, it's going to be more expensive to install a bathroom, no doubt. But who's the clientele? And what's going to be the usage of the park? These parks are for the public, obviously. And if having a bathroom there would bring out more public use of that park, then I would say that a bathroom should be installed. Also, the issue is obviously the concerns with security with a bathroom. But that's a symptom. Bathrooms are not security issues. It's a homeless issue if that's the situation. That's the problem, not having a bathroom there. Let's deal with if you don't have a bathroom because you're concerned about security, then you're dealing with a symptom, not the cause. Deal with the cause, not the symptom. So again, I would push back more on a bathroom, and again, the size of a park should have nothing to do with whether a bathroom is installed or not installed. But I also ask, have staff come back with what's a cost estimate, because it will be expensive, no doubt. But again, maybe it's worth it. Get more utilitarian use out of a park, not just that park, but all parks. Thank you.
Bueno, estoy aquí de nuevo otra vez. Pues mi nombre es Juana Trejo y solamente voy a decirles un poquito rápido qué es lo que nosotros hacemos para que puedan entender mi comentario. Pues formo parte de una organización sin fines de lucro que se llama Promotores de Salud.
I'm back here again, Juana Trejo. I'm just going to give you a quick review of what I do. I work with an organization that is called Familias Unidas. It's an organization that I work with.
Y estamos a nivel condado de Orange y nos gusta abogar por las necesidades de nuestras comunidades. Hacemos foros de derecho al inquilino, foros de migración, damos clases de enfermedades cardiovasculares, clases de salud mental, clases de violencia doméstica.
And we work in Orange County, and we like to advocate for our communities in need. We do have forums and workshops for tenant rights. We also have workshops for immigration that focus on immigration. And we also provide classes regarding heart and issues and problems with cardiovascular issues that affect our community, as well as mental issue classes and domestic violence workshops. We also have some of leadership and self-esteem classes and workshops. We also do some of hairstyling, and we also have, which is,
También hacemos ferias de salud y muchas veces venimos de invitados allá al parque de Shalimar.
We also have some fairs that focus on health, and we do come to Shalimar Park.
Organizamos a la comunidad para tener reuniones con nuestros representantes públicos locales y estatales.
We also have meetings with our community, and we do organize these meetings with our local representatives, state and public.
También tenemos nuestras reuniones con la policía para hablar sobre seguridad, ya que ahorita estamos en tiempo crítico.
We also have our meetings with our police officers regarding our safety, because these are very critical times that we live in.
Yo viví 10 años en Shalimar.
I lived in Shalimar for 10 years.
Pero basado en la criminalidad que había, me tuve que ir de allí porque no quería que mis hijas fueran criadas pensando que esto es normal.
So I lived there for 10 years, and because of the criminal activity that was taking place at the time, I had to move out because I didn't want my daughters to think that this was normal to live in those conditions.
Pero siempre regreso a esa comunidad porque formó parte de mi vida.
But I do always come back to that community, to Shalimar community, because it was part and it is part of my life.
Pero cuando hemos estado en el parque vemos que hace falta un baño, que no hay para lavarse las manos tampoco. Y creo que eso es algo de vital importancia porque es algo necesario.
When I go to the park, I see that we don't have a bathroom. We do need also a place where we can wash our hands because this is something that is very, it's something that we need. It's necessary.
Estamos aquí para poder ayudar a formar partes de cambios positivos porque nuestras comunidades merecen vivir con dignidad humana y sin temor.
We are here to provide positive changes because our communities need to live in with safety, communities with safety and with honor.
Ojalá que podamos trabajar juntos, unidos, para poder hacer la diferencia.
And I hope that we can work together, that we can come and unite so we can make the difference.
Y también necesitamos, por favor, que pongan topes en las calles porque los carros pasan a muy alta velocidad y es una calle que está cerrada como para que los carros pasen a alta velocidad.
Also, we could use some bumps because some of the traffic, they do drive at high speed limits, and it is a dead-end street, so we could use these bumps for our safety.
And one more comment, then time's up.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And then we have a speaker over here, and then we'll move back over here.
Okay,
Let
Cynthia.
me put yours back on.
Okay. Cynthia McDonald, Costa Mesa resident again. You know, there's been a lot of talk by city council members and members of various committees and commissions about the 15-minute city and how important it is in terms of the health for our community to be able to access a park within 15 minutes of where you live, access, services, access, have bike lanes that we can get places without using our cars. So in terms of this park, this isn't a private park. This isn't owned by the local residents. This is owned by the entire city, all the members of residents of this city, not just one local community. But even in terms of that, in terms of the 15-minute city, if you live 15 minutes from this park, and I'm sorry, you have to have a bowel movement, it's not going to be easy to get to your home. And what I see is that really, you're not serving the needs of the community by creating this wonderful park with all these amenities. It's great. And then not having a place to defecate, to wash your hands before you eat. It's human dignity to have some place to go when you need to go. And, there are a lot of kids who are going to go, well, I can't make it. I'm going behind that big soccer ball. And then you're going to have the issue of maintenance in the park. And yes, restrooms are going to be a maintenance issue. They are, but they're not unhygienic. They can be secured in the evening when park usage is less. So I urge you to preserve the dignity of the residents and consider actually put a restroom in these parks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Araceli. Yo vengo representando el Distrito 4.
Good evening, my name is Araceli, and I'm here representing District 4.
Los dos proyectos están bien, pero yo creo que el proyecto A es mejor y tengo una sugerencia sobre él.
I think that both projects are good, but I do believe that Project A is the best option, and I do have an opinion, a suggestion.
De poner más luces en la parte de atrás y por favor de no poner pasto artificial que quema mucho los pies de los niños.
And this suggestion will be to add more lighting to the back side of the park and to please do not use or place artificial turf, artificial grass or turf because it gets very hot and it burns the children's feet.
Sobre el espacio de las bicicletas, poner 2 topes para carros porque pasan demasiado rápido para la seguridad de los niños.
And regarding the space for the bicycles, to please add 2 more bumps because the cars, they do drive very fast. They scratch tires, and this is a hazard, or it's very dangerous for the kids.
Poner un mural enfrente de la calle Placentia y Shalimar para una exposición del Distrito 4.
And to also add a mural in the front of Shalimar and Placentia that could represent, in some way, could represent District 4.
También poner buzones de bolsas para mascotas y poner más árboles frondosos para dar más sombra y más vegetación.
And to also please add a pet station for our pets where we could have bags, and also we could use more trees, bigger trees that can provide more shades, and they can also improve our vegetation in the green area.
Poner los juegos hacia el frente y dejar el árbol que se encuentra hoy en el medio y poner el juego de Gembo hacia atrás.
And to also place the play area at the front of the park, and to leave the tree that it's already there at the center, and to add the handball play area on the backside.
Yo sugiero que es mejor no abrir las calles que se encuentran hacia los lados.
And I suggest, and I think that it's better not to open the streets, the side streets or along Shalimar.
Sobre la calle Placentia para la seguridad del Distrito 4. Gracias.
And this will be the street alongside Placencia Avenue, and this will be to have better safety on District 4 and on this area. Thank you.
Thank you. We have next.
Hello, my name is Sergio. I'm here representing District 4. I've been a community volunteer / leader for the last decade, since 2010, actively until still now. So I lived in Shalimar for over 5 years, and my time there was great. I had great experiences. I think the park is great. I also want to suggest a restroom that would be absolutely necessary. We have had a lot of health fair events there, and so it's always constantly like asking neighbors, if they would let us use, their bathrooms and stuff like that. So it's an inconvenience, and especially we have, people come from different areas that don't know people from there. So it's like, they're not gonna enjoy the park. They're just gonna be there for a quick minute and then leave because there is no restroom. So I would definitely wanna suggest that. And also, I would wanna suggest like a better outreach for the neighborhoods, because flyers and social media and all of that, not everyone has access to all of that, but actually intentionally going out there and not just leaving the flyers on the front door, but actually knocking on the door, engaging with the community, engaging with people, really talking to them, asking them, instead of just leaving the flyer and all of that. And we had events in different locations, to say in Shalimar, and sometimes the city makes it, not sometimes, most of the times, all the time, the city makes it really hard for us to coordinate an event. And I understand there is protocols and policies and all of that need to be followed, but we recently hosted a health fair event in Shalimar, and it was a Children's Day, Dia de los Niños, and it was in partnership and collaboration with the city, the police of Costa Mesa, and some other nonprofit organizations that came to show resources, to share resources and all that. So, but I had to get a permit, and I had to have insurance, and that was worth over $75,000. I don't remember. So I understand if it's something that I'm doing, coordinating on my own, that the city is not part of it. I understand that I need to follow all these protocols and policies and whatnot. But if the city is involved and it's for the benefit of the community, for the benefit of the city, for the benefit of everyone, I think the city should be more flexible when it comes to getting those permits. And if the cities and the police are going to be involved in the event. So that's all I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Paul Wagner. I'm a Costa Mesa resident. Thanks for letting me speak. I am very much in favor of a park overhaul in Shalimar, and this looks like a great idea, so I'm very much in support of it. I echo the restroom and washing station comment. I think that's very important. Oh, I got extra time. Just kidding, I won't take all the time. My comments actually go for the Shalimar Park and any park, and actually any civic area that we have shared. I am a strong believer in our landscapes being either native plants or edibles. Landscapes in general, I think there's a place for ornamentals, but with the current intrusion of managed bees on native bees and the sharp decline in their populations and the sharp impact that it has on native landscapes, I think we really need to rein in our use of ornamentals and their draw to native bees. So all the parks, and as far as the safety of a native tree or plant, I have a hard time with that argument just because we live in a region that has particular flora and fauna, and I think we need to be able to deal with what our region has. And then the last thing is, again, for all civic areas and parks, I would just love to see us reconsider the materials that we use and move away from plastic as much as possible. I recognize that skyrockets the cost of things, but studies more and more are coming out showing plastic degradation over time under sun exposure, particulating into the air, being breathed in by all our lungs and our children's lungs, plastics being found in fetuses, in the brain, in testicles of animals and humans across the board. It's a major health concern, and it poisons the natural world as well as it washes down into our waterways and out into the ocean. So thank you.
Thank you. Please, go ahead and move it down. Yeah, there you go.
Hi, my name is Ashley Rodriguez Romo, and I like the two ideas of the park, but I think the two most important things about the park that we need are probably that I like the idea of the fences because some of me and my friends, we could feel safer of some things that can happen there, so the fences will help so much. And another thing is the restrooms, because some kids and some adults, they also need restrooms because that would just be like to wash their hands when they go to a picnic, to go to the park, and I think that would just be really helpful. And another thing is, another thing about important about the fences is that I think we also need cameras because we've had some incidents at the park, and I think it would really help the polices to know what happened, and that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Yes.
Good evening. Rick Huffman, Costa Mesa resident. I've been to this park over the years a couple of times for events, for improvements to the park going back 5-6 years ago. That neighborhood is obviously a distressed neighborhood and in need of improvement. Quite frankly, if you are on that street in the park, there's a two-story apartment buildings on both sides of the park that the owners of the property should be ashamed of. They lack proper maintenance, and
I know it's an opportunity for affordable housing, but there's no excuse for the properties to be as run down as they are. If I had all the money in the world, I would have this, or if the city had all the money in the world, I would buy the adjoining properties and then operate them with proper maintenance. Perhaps a deal could be made to put some money into offering to paint, at least paint and decorate the outside of these buildings for the owner. You know, make a deal and put some money into it. The people in this neighborhood deserve a lot better than they've had over the years. And this park is a great improvement. And yes, I would advocate for spending a couple $100,000 on a restroom. It would be easy to do. Thank you.
Thank you. I see gentlemen
Hello.
over here.
Eric Roberts again, hello. First of all, I want to second and endorse everything that Paula from CCA said about native plants, species, or edibles. Love that idea. God forbid we have an orange tree in an Orange County park. What a concept. I would pick those and take some and hand them around. That would be wonderful. I have not had the pleasure to be at this park. My understanding, so those are the commissioners, please ask these questions. First of all, again, this park and the other park, please have the north, south, east, west symbols on there so we know what the orientation is. I'm completely dumbfounded why these renderings and presentations don't have that at all. So from my understanding, the park does go north and south. The current existing trees on the Plan A and Plan B are far north, which is great for the residents there. But again, I'm telling you, you're not surprised, it will get hotter and warmer. I don't hardly see any protection from the sun, southern sun primarily, or the western sun in either of these plans. Even the playground itself in the center of the park is unprotected. There's no sunshade there or structure or anything over that. There's going to be a few hours a day tomorrow that will be too hot, I assume, for many kids, especially as the years go on and it probably will get warmer and hotter. I don't know why there's no sun protection over that playground structure for them. There's plenty of sunshade structures around for the benches and everything else. And for, of course, the play area, the mini soccer and basketball area, that's great. But there's not much protection from day sun straight above or from the south or west, which is the hotter sun. So flabbergasted by why those orientations aren't considered. I think I have to second and endorse everyone that said that there should be bathrooms too. Just one, all gender and a sink or whatever. Even if I were living right next door, like, really, do I have to go back home to use that? I know it's a cost and expense, but there's two things going on here with that. It's oriented towards the young, which have little impulse control and control over their bladder. But also our population is getting older. So you're going to have grandparents and great-grandparents that don't necessarily have as much control of their bodily functions either. We don't want to hinder them from going to a local park. So please ask commissioners, ask the staff, ask the presenters, how much would that be? I think I'm the 5th or 6th at least that have asked for a bathroom, to consider a bathroom. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the audience? So now we'll go online. Anybody online?
If there are any members, please raise your hand who wish to speak on this item. Chair, there are no hands raised.
Okay, at this point, then I'll go to the commissioners and I'll start over here. Commissioner Wall, do you have questions or comments? Commissioner Ledger.
Yeah, and sorry, because I am new, maybe this has been discussed before or looked into.
Go for it.
But that area, I know a lot of people here spoke about the crime, and I know even back in the 90s, there was a lot of crime in that area. With the parks closing at sunset, we know that a lot of activity by the residents outdoors helps lower crime levels because they're not going to be out there committing crimes in front of residents. So if we extended the time on the parks instead of like this park, since it backs up to those apartments, if we extended the time after sunset for a couple hours, could that possibly help lower the crime in the area?
It's a good question for the staff.
So, Chair Don Parker, Commissioner Ledger, that's more of a policy question. I think that's something that I think our police department has to be consulted on that one, and definitely with council direction, we can look into that.
Any other questions? All right, I'll go to Commissioner Garcia Arcos.
I'm very curious. How much is it to install a bathroom?
For a single stall one, probably $250,000, including all the infrastructure.
Okay.
On up, depending on how big you're gonna make it.
So Commissioner Arcos, the one that we installed at Lions Park playground was almost $400,000. And that was, a few years ago. So I'm thinking it's more, for a single one, it could be in that range. In the 400,000 range is what I'm thinking.
Would it be possible to pull that number up? Because 250 and 400,000 is a huge gap.
Yeah.
Just to get a better understanding of the number.
It's very hard to pinpoint exactly because now we need to bring in all the utilities into the park. We need extra, sewer, water, and electricity. So those have to be added. Plus, it depends on again. It's even though you think it's a small amenity, small size bathroom, the ADA requirements are pretty significant for any of these bathrooms. So once you factor in the ADA requirements, what we have to think about is what are we going to give up, and it's either one of the play structures, either swings or the play structure or the turf area you have in the front, or maybe lose the mini pitch. I mean, one of these have to be given up to accommodate something like that. It's because of the size of this. We're talking about 0.17 acres. Think about that. It's pretty small, but it if we were giving up some play area, we can do something.
Yeah, because I got the opportunity to speak with a lot of the members, and that was a concern before they brought it up, and I think it would make more sense to bring it up as an option. I don't think we ever saw it as an option, so I am very confident that we could potentially have them better understand what things we can give. Just to get something, we have to lose something else. But that could be, would it be possible to bring that up in the future meeting for outreach?
So Commissioner Arcos, the next venue for public meeting is our city council meeting. So again, it's your recommendation and the council direction will go with that.
Right now, we're going to be asking questions and comments. So, and then after we get through the commission, then we can have a discussion about the motion. Okay. No, go ahead. Put your mic back on. Okay. Yeah.
So another concern was speed bumps. We've had a lot of gang activity from outside the city, coming in, shooting up towards the sky, luckily not towards the residents. And we want to discourage people from coming in. If there's speed bumps, we hope that can control. a lot of that speeding to try to make it safer for the kids and the community members. And we had this conversation with City Councilman Chavez, and he did mention something along the line of it being a little bit hard because it's such a small street. Can you add to that just to better understand what requirements we would look into to maybe make that possible?
So Commissioner, because if you look in the plan right now, we are already proposing a speed table. That's a raised crosswalk. So it acts like a speed hump right in front of the park. We are narrowing the street quite a bit and adding that speed table. Now, in advance of this, our plan is to actually add speed humps too. So there will be speed bumps added to the street as part of this project.
Perfect, thank you. Would it be possible to maybe get something from that budget to add it to the other side of Shalimar?
We can.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. I did also want to thank you for, putting up or mentioning that it's possible to put some security cameras, because that would be very helpful. And then I wanted to echo what some of the residents were saying is adding a mural where Wallace is. Would that be something that we can consider?
Commissioner, because it's a separate project, I'll let Ms. Villas-Sinor answer that question.
Yeah, as our Arts Commission is exploring, we're in the middle of exploring mural processes and public art in the city. So that's absolutely something that we can consider down the line. Our Arts Commission is, like I said, in the process of evaluating all of our processes. Our mural permits are about to go live on Tessa very soon. And so we hope to see some of those more public art, and especially within city projects. So we're on the way there.
I did want to mention, so we were looking at the votes, and I noticed the stickers were overwhelmed. I mean, it was just covered with stickers. It was very difficult to see what was presented in front of us because of how, if you look at page, I believe, 10, if you scroll to page 8, and you look at the right top corner, you can see how many stickers there were. It's very difficult to see the project, and I think some people were just voting blindly at a certain point towards the end. So I just wanted to, I noticed that for Ketchum, it was a little bit different. It was on the side. Mm-hmm. I didn't see it in person, but I saw it on the piece of paper. That maybe in the future we can do something similar to that, just to be a little bit more transparent, and it can be a little bit more visible. That's all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Lamb.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you have any data on crimes, assaults, drugs, graffiti, homeless encampments in and around bathrooms at our parks. Is there any data on that? I'm just playing devil's advocate here because sometimes in a small park, when you put a restroom in, it brings the wrong element.
I don't have any hard data for you to rely on our police department for hard data. I can say anecdotally, experience with maintenance. We do have some issues at several of our parks with unhoused elements, with drugs, with other illicit activities going on in our restrooms.
Yeah.
Just anecdotally, and things that we deal with on a maintenance level from day to day.
All right. Okay, thank you. That's all.
I know our park at Wilson Park, for example, we had to keep closing and opening the restrooms on multiple occasions.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
So I have a couple questions. What is a mini pitch soccer? Is that, I mean, that looks like it's kind of trying to be 4 things at once. Is that just basically open area that has some markings that the adults and kids can do soccer, basketball? I see a hoop. Is it a multi?
Yes, it could be used for multi-purposes. One of the things that the kids at the community engagement meeting were most excited about was just opportunities to practice soccer skills, and this mini pitch would allow them to do that in such a small space. So it was important to us to provide them a place for active and positive activation in the back of the park. And so that was where we decided to include that.
To put that in. Then I also noticed there's netting. So is that because it's a very dense community, lots of alleyways and cities, there's very little space? Is that the idea of the net so that they have a place to go that is safe and that also is more open to that sort of, open play, soccer play, basketball play?
Yes.
That was the concept. Okay.
Chair, and also just for reference, think of it as futsal, like a mini futsal court. Those are very much indoors.
Yes.
I mean, and in an arena type feel. So they're very typical, yeah.
Okay, thank you. I just had to show my ignorance on what that is. And then the lighting, I just wanted to make sure that the lighting is designed in a way that truly lights up the park. I mean, it's hard to see the rendering, and that also if you put security cameras, it's well lit. Because we know a well-lit open space is one that has more open community use and less secret crimes in the corners.
Yes.
We know that from schools and such.
Yeah, and we'll continue to work with the police department on making sure that those are located in positions that'll be most beneficial for that.
So that the community and the families feel safe.
Yes.
They know they're safe. Okay. The other thing I wanted to clarify is the grass on Plan B is the open grass. It's grass. It's
Yes.
not synthetic. I gather. Yes. Yes, I heard very clearly. Then the other thing that I just want to make sure, because I know these renderings are from computer, we do have sunshades all over the playground. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a slide comes a little bit out of the sunshade, but that's all designed, including the swing sets and the swings, is to have shade.
Yeah, so they have built-in shade covers, so those, including the swings. So the playground and the swings will both have built-in shade covers.
Right. Thank you. So the thing I know, I'm hearing loud and clear about restrooms. And compared to Newport Beach, City of Costa Mesa does not have restrooms in their facilities. For some reason, Newport Beach every park has a bathroom, every park has them open and closed. But I also know they spent a tremendous amount of money and resources and staff in the designing on the restrooms. I'd like to kick this back to the city council because it really is something that we need to look at, not just Moon Park. And I know Jordan Park, when we redid it, we couldn't even put, they put, water fountains. So I think this is a bigger problem than just these two parks. I think it's a much bigger problem across our community where we're really engaging in our community parks in a way that we're really asking and the community what you want, and they said we want more parks, we want more bikeability, we want walkability, we want more space. So I think this is a bigger problem, and now that we have development happening and they have to pay in park fees, I believe this is something I would like to, as a commissioner, to really urge them to look at all the parks with all the restrooms, and then because you have to have a completely new set. I did call the city of Newport Beach, and also Huntington Beach has a lot of restrooms in their parks, especially in the beach areas, which do attract a lot of out-of-town people, and they have a lot of elements there to hang out who like to do drugs and alcohol and activities that probably a community doesn't necessarily want there. And what they do is they have an entire team that has this as part of the law enforcement. It's part of the community services. But I think this is a bigger deal than just Shalimar, just Leibold, not just Jordan Park, not just Parentwood. This is a really big, and I know Wilson Park, there's a community around there really would like to see the restrooms, but it doesn't seem to have enough resources to keep it for the community. And also it's near a bus line that people really feel using the restrooms, not for the park. So this is a big issue, and I don't think the commission we can solve it, but we certainly can ask the city council, I think, to move forward as with the staff to really look at as the monies are coming in. And I know the state doesn't have any of these resources that we just got, but this may be something that we ask for a grant to really look at all our parks, all the restrooms, drinking fountains. So many of our parks do not have drinking fountains. So many of our parks don't have shade structure. They don't have a lot of things. So there is an opportunity for this park if they choose to not have certain elements, if they want to take $250,000 or $400,000 out of what is the whole budget for the park? I forgot. I'm sorry. I know it's a CI.
So we know the grant is about $1 million, but we have other funding too. So we think the cost estimate right now, you correct me if I'm wrong, it's about $1.5 million.
So 1.5 million. Okay.
Yeah.
So they
So-
may have to take out, so, yeah, so those are my comments, those are my questions. You know, I don't know if there's a way we can do portable restrooms with Costa Mesa Sanitation District where they can be, I know we tried to do it, but we had a city council that shut it down, thinking that it wasn't a good idea. But I think there's ways we can begin to understand how we can have these sanitation issues come forward, but at the same time, understand and mitigate concerns by the community about what's happening in them or not happening in them. So this is interesting. So those are my questions. If anybody else has any other questions, I would love to entertain. So this one is also one where we vote on what we're going to forward to. I'm just trying to think. I don't think hang on. Oh, here. Okay, my thing stopped working. My mouse stopped working. So do I have a motion of which option I believe is option B what the staff believes that the community has wanted, the open green space, the grass space, and what it looks like? Okay. So that is what the staff believes the community wants. I would love to entertain a motion. So if you click make motion and then tell me what the motion is. Okay, Commissioner Garcia Arcos, what would you like to make a motion on? I'm sorry, what? Yeah, so go ahead. Use your, I'll help you. Go ahead. Yeah, no, go ahead. Put it on the mic.
Hello. Yeah, so I wanted to make a motion to see if we can talk to City Council and try to have the community give more input towards the restroom. I think you heard it tonight, and I've also heard it over the past few meetings that we've had in the community. So that's my motion.
So if I understand, I just want to clarify it because we're on a timeline with this grant, and that's why we had to have a special meeting. So you're going to request which plan would you recommend, including having the city council explore whether they want to insert a restroom and find out what the community would be willing to do without, because then we'd have an amount, and then it's up to the city council to take it from there. Am I understanding that correct? Because you can't add without subtracting. Yeah. Okay, so did we get that from the commissioner? You want to repeat that?
So it is Commissioner Garcia Arcos is making a motion to select Plan B with a request for council to review for a restroom option and navigate that in those comments during a council meeting.
Correct. Do I have, if someone wants to make a second, go ahead and click
I
second.
do have Commissioner Wall who seconded.
Okay,
So-
we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on the motion? Yes, Commissioner Glab. Can we ask questions? Yep, this is the time to ask questions. Please do.
You said the grant is on a timeline. Can you explain that?
Yeah, the state grant has a timeline. I believe the deadline to get the project completed and give them a final cost is January of 2026.
Oh.
So we want to really get it done by late next year.
So these plans aren't a done deal? Changes can be made?
Yeah, we are at the point where we are at a conceptual design stage. So once we have council approval, that's when we go through the design, which would take about 3 to 4 months.
Will this motion hold you up on that deadline for the grant?
So Commissioner Glab, at this point, we are still scheduled for council meetings, so it's not going to hold us up. Okay. So we'll incorporate whatever the council direction is ultimately.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions by any of the council members? All right, and everybody's clear on the motion. All right, at this point, if you can vote, are we ready to vote? Okay, so if we can vote. Yay!
Okay. Motion carries 4-1 to move forward with the recommendation of option B.
Option B with the restroom option.
Correct.
Before, okay. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, everybody here. So this next part of the agenda is Fairview Park Master Plan update. There is no action item, it's a report. And I just want to clarify, for people who really want to have a back and forth, this is the time when I take public comments. Is your public right for the comment? We'll take it in and staff will. But is it July, when is it? July 10th, is it? Did I get the date right? Is the actual Fairview Park Committee will be meeting, and that will be much more a give and take and a discussion. So I just want to make sure before we start. So at this point, I don't know if, Kelly, is there a report? Or a presentation or report on it? I think there is.
Yes, we'll go ahead and open up the presentation. One moment. Thank you, Commission. Pleased to have the opportunity this evening to present before you the Fairview Park Master Plan update. This project was first kicked off actually in 2023 when the City Council awarded the contract to MIG. But before I hand it over to our consultant team, I did want to share a few opening remarks and actually provide some important background information regarding the history of the Fairview Park site itself. I think this will really be helpful for some of that reference information from the executive summary of the RFP. So I'll just go ahead and read a short clip. So first, the property of Fairview Park was owned by the California Department of Parks and Recreation prior to ownership by the county. The state actually sold it to the County of Orange in 1973. Subsequent to that, the county sold the Fairview Park section to a larger park called Fairview Regional Park. That section was sold to the city in 1986, and they retained Talbert Park as a county regional park. From roughly 1996 through 2016, the city accepted outside mitigation funds and a number of conservation grants to restore several portions of the native plant community, the vernal pools, as well as constructing a new constructed wetland and riparian habitat system. During some of this period and up to 2016, the city continued to consider a number of active uses, including a golf course, a skate park, a dog park, and several other developed uses of the site. Subsequent to that, in November 2016, a grassroots effort led by the citizens of Costa Mesa passed ballot measure AA, and this measure was codified into law into the Costa Mesa Municipal Code. The Costa Mesa, Measure AA provides for a number of exemptions to the voter approval requirement, including significant changes for restoration purposes, preservation purposes, maintenance purposes, and public safety. Since that time, the city's worked with the residents and the community to recognize the intent of Measure AA and to fulfill the vision of the Fairview Park Master Plan. So currently, the existing master plan, we've been working with a version from effectively 1998. So this plan is about 25 years overdue for a comprehensive review and update. So with that, I will go ahead and introduce our consultant team. We have Jenny Zell from MIG, and she will share the remainder of the slides.
Yes, thank you. And as Kelly mentioned, this master plan update really represents a tremendous opportunity for directing the future of the park and guiding the future of the park. And the purpose is super clear. Here, it's to restore, preserve, protect, and manage so that the future generations have the same access to this really special place that we share right now. And so how do we achieve that purpose and how do we measure the success of the master plan update is through these goals and objectives that we see here. And so what we've done so far, the project kicked off spring of 2023, and we began our investigations with our biological
team going out into the field, doing investigations, surveys, as well as our cultural resource investigations. So while those were ongoing, we met with the community, and we've met with the steering park committee a couple of times. We had a community workshop. And we've also been building our resource assessments and finding over these months. And we also have a habitat restoration opportunity report. We presented it to the community. We have ongoing tribal advisory group meetings, and we're here today at the Parks Recreation meeting today. And so some of our key next steps, as you just mentioned, the next meeting is going to be July 10th, and that will be with the Fairview Park Steering Committee. We've got another community workshop, number 2. And then importantly, we've got our draft master plan update in November of 2024. And what this starts is the environmental documentation period. And that's important. And while that's happening and ongoing, we'll go to the city council. And then we will have our draft ISMND, which has a 30-day public review, as does that first draft master plan update, has a 30-day public review. And then early 2025, we have our final master plan update and a new and updated environmental documents. And the significance of this is important because the document will be a legally defensible guide for this park. And as Kelly mentioned, it's about 25 years in the making. And what this image illustrates is what it is that's being protected and restored on this site. This is the vernal pool. It's incredible, those experiences you can see out there. And you can experience this in Costa Mesa, right in your backyard. And this is one of the last vernal pools, coastal vernal pools in all of Southern California. And it's right here in Costa Mesa. And so this is the site. This is the Fairview Park site, and we'll get into this a little bit more about what is out there, the amazing resources that are out there. And part of our process and purpose of the master plan update is also to engage the community and to hear their desires and really reflect the intentions and the desires of the community in this master plan update, and to engage. And we did that through one way is a workshop. We've also, at every meeting, we've provided community cards and gotten feedback from the community as well. And one of the exercises of the first community workshop is really to find out how the community is using it and where they use it and what they're doing out there at the park. And also to get feedback on what the community would like to see at the park. One of the really important outcomes of this master plan update is going to be clearly defining trails and park use. Right now, it's hard to know exactly how to use that park. So that's going to be a real clear outcome, is defining public use and trails. And from our experience as as a designer and park planner, we know that it's important to delineate, trails and delineation can help people understand how to use it. It avoids conflicts. It avoids different conflicts between different uses and create better outcomes for residents, for sure. And we also, another really important outcome of this master plan update is going to be recommendations on signage and interpretation, and helping to build those future stewards of this park through education is really a terrific opportunity. So we got feedback on how we communicate that story, the stories to be told, as well as what sort of site furnishings are needed to enhance the experience of this place. And again, we got feedback on nature play. Play is a way to build those stewards, to build curiosity and education for children. We know you learn to love these places when you're young. And so, we heard loud and clear that it's not a structured playground. It represents the unique, whatever kind of play happens, it needs to represent this unique ecosystem that's out here. And part of the 2008 master plan included a museum field house, and so we did incorporate some discussions around this with the understanding of new, Kelly mentioned Measure A8, understanding that would require a vote to build something like this. However, we did hear also from the community that if there is one, it needs to be located on the lawn, not take up any of these potential habitat restoration opportunities, or possibly on the east side of the park. And it may or may not be desirable. And also, that same program of education could happen outside and be incorporated in a different way, not a structure. But importantly, too, I think it speaks to the importance regionally of this ecosystem and how Costa Mesa can be a steward and really highlight their environmental stewardship of this resource as well. And also provide different like science curriculum opportunities for all the local schools, from elementary up to university institutions that are nearby. And another element we got feedback on, we've gotten ongoing feedback, is what are some of the issues? What are some of those constraints? And this feedback kind of points again to the need for clear delineation of human use through this master plan update, and how that can help intuitively describing how to use the site, can help people like Kelly and others manage this site and build stewards. And of course, we know through COVID and other experiences also the benefits that this place brings to us humans visiting this site. And human use is key. It needs to be managed and direct, but access to nature and native biodiversity, it lowers our stress level. It lowers our cortisol levels, and probably all of us go here to enjoy those benefits. And a healthy environment makes a healthy community. They're interrelated, and those benefits are important. And people love and use this site every time I go out there, as you probably know. And another important aspect of this site, I think, again, these two images illustrate the regional significance of Fairview Park. And the image, I guess on my right, your right as well, that shows iNaturalist findings and what people and the community and citizen scientists are already observing, noting, and uploading about the site. And you can see it's a scatter map, and you can see the density of observations that are happening at Fairview Park, as well as Talbot Regional Park, and as well along this, the river trail as well. And then on the site, you can see on the left what people see out there. It's incredible. And it's also culturally significant and historically significant. There's some important sites that are located here on that project. And so part of this master plan update and the ongoing conversations we've had with our tribal advisory group is elaborating, and we're working with them to make the recommendations here for the project. And certainly the habitat restoration opportunities are an important piece of the master plan, a key piece of the master plan update. And we'll move through these fairly quickly, but one thing to note is that Fairview Park is within a biodiversity hotspot. And part of that is because you have wetlands, you have coastal sage scrub, you have a variety of different habitats that support these different types of species here on site. And you can see here, this is some of that diversity that's seen out there, and these adorable gnatcatchers. And importantly, as I mentioned before, that big wet, the big water you see here in the middle, that is, as I mentioned before, it's the last vernal pool in coastal Southern California. And there's a couple. It's a vernal pool watershed, And there's this one. It's also, oh, you can see it as well as here. It's also on the east side of the park. It's kind of the north on this image. The blue area you can see in the image here. And in this aerial, this is just identifying the different vernal pools and the vernal pool watershed itself. And also, you'll see this red polygon here in the middle of the site. That's indicating the fill, improper fill that's going to be recommended to be removed within the habitat recommendations. And so part of our field investigations went into the development of this map. This is telling us what we kind of intuitively know is this incredible diversity of species that's out there on the site and where those species currently are located. There's a lot of colors, but those represent an incredible diversity of habitats. Again, that improper fill, and take a look at it, that red polygon. Keep your eye on that as we move through these. Because what you see now, I hope it's clear, you can see sort of this blue hatch area that's kind of over that improper fill. That's really the vernal pool watershed. And what's important to note about that is that not just the vernal pool itself, but the entire watershed, what feeds and nourishes these vernal pools. And so there's been incredible restoration and community-based restoration and ongoing restoration at this site as well. But overall, we've got 208 acres here, 13 of which is developed, and that's the manicured lawn, which you see here in this teal color. And we've got about 20 acres of ongoing habitat restoration projects now. There's existing habitat restoration, about 32 acres. This is describing some of those different efforts. And an incredible opportunity of an additional 80 acres. You can see here identified. And there's also habitat enhancement opportunities. That's in this bright green. That's primarily on the east side where habitat can be enhanced and balanced with other human use. And additionally, if you remember, well, part of the purpose of the master plan update is also to guide management of the park. And so the master plan update will include recommendations for invasive species management, as well as different native seed recommendations as well. But this slide deals primarily with invasive species. And so that's our presentation, and that's it, right? Yeah.
Yes, with that, we'll hand it back over to you, Chair, and feel free to address us with any questions.
Okay. At this point, I'll go back to the commissioners to ask questions, and I'm going to start, I'll just try with Commissioner Garcia Arcos.
I have no comments right now.
Okay, then I'm going to flip it over to Commissioner Wall. Try to mix it up a little bit.
I don't have any questions. As I look at the proposed schedule for next steps, there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of stuff going on. And so I think it'd be incumbent on us as commissioners to be actively involved in that as well. That's it.
Great. At this time, I'll ask Commissioner Ledger, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. And then Commissioner Glab.
No comments, no questions.
Yes, it looks like Commissioner Garcia Arcos has a question.
So 4th of July is coming up, right? How is the noise going to affect the birds?
Yeah, I can certainly address that. I mean, 4th of July, the fireworks are definitely a disturbance to a lot of wildlife, and so we would discourage any residents in the nearby area from lighting off any illegal fireworks, of course. It is a national holiday, and we know that that's a likely outcome. People are still going to do fireworks, but we would strongly encourage them to do only safe and sane and the legal fireworks that are sold locally. But of course, yeah, the loud bangs, the loud bangs in the middle of the night, the lights, it's absolutely a disturbance and an impact to a lot of biological resources.
Thank you for answering that. I believe the city of Costa Mesa does a firework celebration the day before. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
July 3rd.
July
The
3rd. So
fairgrounds.
if y'all want to go and
Our
voice
lovely staff,
that out.
super amazing. Yes, I've been able to go.
I'm sorry, I had
You had to go. No, it's okay. That's our job. But in a third, yeah.
I did have another recommendation. So there's been a lot of research on mulch. Have you guys thought about like removing as much invasive species, right, weeds, and then mulching the area?
We do utilize mulch in terms of, tying it back to the master plan update and this project specifically. We have an expert restoration ecologist. He's actually the latter half of this presentation was his slides, and we originally had him on schedule to be presenting before this commission, but due to the timing of having to cancel our earlier meeting, he's on a couple-week vacation right now, so he'll be attending the committee meeting on the 10th. We'd love to have you all attend that. But there is a specific outcome in this master plan that is basically absent in the older plan, is a new maintenance, management, and operations plan. So that's going to actually have specific invasive species control methods for each species and each habitat type. So that's going to be an extremely useful tool for us to manage, and consider practices like mulch application for the restoration areas.
That's all my questions. Thank you.
So the other question I have is, on the last slide, you had talked about opportunities. You had numbers everywhere. Was there a key of where those numbers represent? I know it's been wonderful. You did a great job with lots of colors, lots of different, patterns, but I wasn't sure what those numbers were. It's
tell
like
you.
you have a couple number 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and they seem to be color coded, but I wasn't sure what it was color coded for.
Yes, and can you still see it? Do you have the image? Or
Well, we actually
You
we
have it
got
right
printed
there.
out,
Okay.
so we're good.
So
we're-
yeah, okay, so one, if you can see number 1, it identifies invasive plant management.
Okay.
And then if you look at number 2, it's vernal pool management.
Okay.
And then number 3 is the fuel modification zone, so that has its own management plan.
Okay.
And then if you look at number 4,
Yep.
that's where we describe the native plant enhancement area.
Okay. And then 5?
And then 5,
It's right, is that the,
oh,
is that the,
it's
it's a lawn?
This is a little bit of an exception to the rule. Yeah, it's nature play and just programmed play areas.
So
Oh,
that's where
look,
the programs are anticipated, if any sort of building.
Exactly.
It's around the, okay. No, that was my question.
right there.
Okay. Thank you. At this time, I'll take public comments. Oh, good. My thing went off. Go ahead, gentleman on the left.
I'm Christian Redmond's father again. I was informed that when I talked earlier, I didn't say I was addressing all my comments to the Fairview Park. So I'm going to bring that forward. But in the 10 years we've been trying to maintain Christian's 2 areas, the sage scrub area and the Coast live oak tree area, our main problem has been the black mustard. If you do a search online about black mustard, it's pretty scary because the seeds can lie dormant and until the conditions are just right for germination, can last upwards of 50 years in the soil. And So you can clear like we do every year, clear all the mustard we can see, pull it up by the roots, chop it off, do whatever we can to keep it from going to seed. But then especially in a wet year like we've had recently, it comes up abundantly again. And his areas are surrounded basically, they're basically downwind of the main mustard infestations in the whole park, especially the sage scrub area, which is directly downwind of the city's area, which is totally infested with mustard that's gone to seed over several years and is, you know, it goes to seed and blows right into Christian's area. So whatever mitigation efforts can be devised to get rid of the black mustard, I think is one of the main things that has to be considered before, if any replanting or more, you know, sage scrub or whatever is planned, if it's not maintained every year to keep the mustard out, it's just going to be overrun again. And we've been doing it for 10 years, and now we're told we're not allowed in the park to do that anymore. So if it's going to be by a contractor or somebody else, it's going to be very expensive, and it's going to be a year-round ongoing project for the whole, basically I'm talking about the west side of the park, the Bluff Park. So, and it's also mustard that is not just there, it's down in the Talbot Park area, and that goes to seed and blows up into Fairview Park from there because it's all downwind. So thank you very much. That's it.
Thank you. Okay.
Good evening, Kim Hendricks, and it's nice to see a restoration plan finally moving forward. The last update was 2008. In 1998, when the master plan was first designed, each successive update has pulled out things like they said, the dog park. What I'd like to see the city do and Parks and Rec staff do is not allow events that degrade it. We were told, Fairview Park Alliance, that last year would be the last concerts in the park, and it obviously hasn't. I did a public records request last year and saw that the Costa Mesa Community Foundation was really shocked that they were allowed to actually be in Fairview Park with all the other parks that could host it. And so it is quite disturbing to me that once again, there's going to be concerts in the park with alcohol and food trucks and lots of trampoline. And with these unique resources, it should not be happening. So I'd like to see city staff maybe do their job properly to protect this park and guide Costa Mesa Community Foundation to another park. Also, the museum that is mentioned, I hope, could be on the grassy area, because on the east side, it would be really nice to have a growing space. We have a nonprofit to the north and to the south of us, Bolsa Chica Land Trust. They have a growing space, and Newport Bay Conservancy. They don't have one, but they are all for us having it on the east side. We could do seed gathering. We could get these gangs, these kids. I taught in Newport Mesa for 12 years. These kids don't have any models. I don't teach there anymore. I teach at a different school, but the problem still exists. So it would be really nice to have a growing space on the east side and to do grassland restoration. My in-laws have lived on Pacific Avenue since the 1960s, and in the 1980s, they themselves were trying to save Fairview Park. So this has been a long, long process. And I ask you, why is biodiversity good? Why is it necessary? I hope you guys will get an answer to that. It's necessary for us. And I hope that you get an answer before we don't have that cup of coffee anymore or that chocolate bar anymore, because it's important for us to have it. Also, the glider planes. It was on May 2nd, 2023, when the City Council gave the Harbor Soaring Society a year testing, and Mr. Matt Garcia, president at the time, said, that everyone else, said it was okay except city staff, which was not true. I emailed U.S. Fish and Wildlife the very next day, and she said, no, 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 no. And so I hope the city starts listening to the experts, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, California Department of Fish and Wildlife, city staff, city committees, and most importantly, the community. We need it.
Thank you. Over to the left.
Hello, Paul Wagner again, Costa Mesa City resident, and at the Coastal Corridor Alliance as well. We have a small community-based restoration project at Fairview Park, and our organization is very committed and invested in the natural aspects of Fairview Park. It's been very helpful for me to hear a clear delineation between the manicured lawn and active recreation kind of areas versus the natural landscapes that we're trying to preserve and protect and restore. And we're very much in favor of, both, but for sure the natural environment protection and restoration. So we're very grateful for the hard work Jenny and her team have done, and support all those restoration plans. We're also in support of a native plant nursery space somewhere on that land. There is one in Back Bay at the Back Bay Science Center, but it is small, and it wouldn't serve our Santa Ana River coastal corridor very well. So it'd be great to have one there. And what else? There was something else. Yeah, we're also concerned about the concerts in the park. Any sort of disturbance to the wildlife there. We have a lot of other spaces that we could use. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. My name is Jennifer Thomas. I'm a member of the Fairview Park Steering Committee, so I wanted to just encourage you all to come out next month on July 10th to our meeting in the room next door. We have snacks. Can't eat in this council chambers, but you can eat in the room next door, so we provide snacks. And I would love it if all of you could come, maybe especially Commissioner Garcia. I know these things are really important to him. And on the 10th, I don't know if Jenny will be there, but it does sound like the ecologist will be there. And I really want you all to hear from him. He's a very dynamic speaker and has the best interest of Fairview Park. And it was very important to me. I was hoping that he was going to be here tonight, and that's a little bit of a disappointment. I'm glad to see you, Jenny, though. It's so good to see you. He is very special. She just said that. So I highly encourage you to please come out. If there's one meeting that you'll visit this year, that it's next month's meeting. Also, have one request, an ask that if and when the master plan update comes to you and you have recommendations for the city council, to me, the most important part of that recommendation is to remove something that Jenny touched on but didn't go into details, called the fill material that is located in the park. It is very not ecology happy. I'm trying to think of positive to the park, and it is going to cost a fair amount to remove it, but we need it removed. It needs to be removed from the park. It is trash and construction material that does not belong in that park. That was put in there decades ago, and we need a good plan to remove it. And I'm just asking for your support in that when that does go to the city council. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a gentleman over there.
Hello, my name is Cole Crecilius. I'm the vice chair of the Fairview Park Steering Committee. I'm a 15-year resident of Costa Mesa, but I'm not from here. I'm from the Pacific Northwest. And as a result, and as a dad of 2 young boys, I just want to encourage everyone in this room, everyone tuning in online, of truly how special Fairview Park is, what a unique resource it is for the city of Costa Mesa. for its nature, for its exploration. So much about that park is so very special. And I know by the fact that many of you don't have many questions or comments, there's lots to come, more community workshops, more meetings as with our own meetings, as well as with City Council. So there will be more information coming down the pipeline. But I just wanted to reiterate that this is unique to Costa Mesa. This is something that we have the opportunity to not only preserve, but to utilize. I believe that recreation and conservation really can work hand in hand, because as I'm raising my two boys, they need to be in nature to understand why they need to protect it. They can't do that from afar. They need to be in the dirt. And Fairview Park is one of those places. And so I as well look forward to seeing the future plans, the actual layouts of uses, how we can better delineate the use and the preservation, so that we can have this resource in Costa Mesa for decades to come. So I thank you all for your role that you play, knowing that Fairview Park is a part of the purview of what happens here, and just look forward to the coming months and really the year ahead as we make some major headway on, as we've talked on today, this master plan that has sort of been lying in a state of non-action for a long time. We're excited to take it to the next level and look forward to your participation in that. So thank you so much.
Thank you. We have.
Good evening once again, Cynthia McDonald. Excellent presentation. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I wish the staff report was more of a staff report. This, to me, is kind of more of a to-do list. I'm used to delving into staff reports, and I get nerdy about them, but I enjoy reading them. That's how you become informed about our city. So next time I would like to see more information here. The timeline of the meetings, I remember being at that outreach meeting at the community center. It was, searching for a nice word, well, I've already talked about poop enough tonight. I guess you can just lump it into that category, but the one at the senior center, I did not see on there, the one with Rob Hamilton, talking about the habitat, the physical changes that have occurred in the park over the years. That was so helpful and so educational and brought back to mind when the Waldorf School first moved to its site from East Bluff. My kids were at the East Bluff site, moved over to, that's the present location. I was crazy and was responsible for moving the school. But I remember it well, going out and talking to the flying club and, you know, what do you guys do here? And thinking, oh, you know, this is going to be great for the kids. It was so-so. But they've made a lot of changes to the terrain over there. It wasn't that big when Waldorf moved there. It was much smaller. They have mowed, they have enlarged their site, and because of that, it's changed the watershed. I recommend getting those flyers out of Fairview Park. It's not going to get better, it's only going to get worse. In terms of what's going to be happening, you know, what you're deciding to do, I was on the committee at the onset, and we've been talking about trails and fencing for a long time. Do it. You know, pick something. Let's get some delineated trails. Let's keep people from, you know, making their own things. We need to protect. We need to preserve. We need to restore. Get rid of the old fill. Yeah, I'm tired of looking at the pieces of concrete in the vernal pools. Concerts in the park. Let's move it down to the library. It's more appropriate there. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello, Eric Roberts again. Thank you for the presentation. I look forward to that. Mr. Dalton, Kelly, and Mr. Gruner. Love to have that. I think I could speak for the rest of the committee. I'm on the Fairview Park Steering Committee. that we would like to have those slides included in our agenda well ahead of time so the public can see them ahead of time. We were all blind today. Want to see those and study those ahead of time. And also want to correct the record. Yes, November 8th at the Senior Center was technically Community Workshop number 2. It was a great event with great capacity, but we didn't have nearly as many people there. I think because the city and others didn't promote it enough. Big, large area. The best presentation, I think I can safely say, we still refer to it in the committee as the ecological history of Fairview Park. Excellent, excellent. We wished it was recorded. It's about 20 minutes, and so we hope that your colleague comes and does it again, maybe on what time? 6 p.m., 7:10, right on the other side of the building. What time? 6 p.m. There you go. I am the chair. We will start around 6:30, 6:40 on that master plan update issue. I'll make it happen. I'll make it so. And we try to finish, and we usually do, before 8 p.m. They have a lot on their plate today, and they have a much bigger organization. Fairview Park is a gem. It's been a gem, but it still needs a lot of polishing and a lot of work. So all those on the commission, I invite you to come to that meeting. I invite you to come to July 13th with the CCCA Nature Walk at the park in the morning. Look it up on Eventbrite. I invite you to come to any one of these in yellow, Fairview Park website, Restoration Days, Saturday mornings, Fairview Park Alliance and Coastal Corridor Alliance. We have 2 organizations that do Restoration Days at Fairview Park. It's wonderful to do that, to take literally with your own hands, which I've done many times, I enjoy it, the fill out of the park and take it aside, or the weeds. And there's lots of them. There's lots of invasives. So Fairview Park is amazing. Come enjoy it. Come learn about it. Kelly Dalton is already very busy, but he knows probably more about it than anyone at this point, and he would be a great person to ask about. And Mr. Gruner is new to this city, but he is learning a lot and becoming more and more a benefactor to our park as well. So I really appreciate that. Thank you all for coming. Hope to see some of you on the 10th. We have goodies. And yes, and I'm the chair. We'll have a little fun too. Thank you.
Thank you. Hank?
Hi, good evening. Hank Castanetti once again. I hold a unique position here. I wear 2 hats. Yeah, I'm the train guy, but I am also serving as the Orange County Model Engineer Liaison to the Fairview Park Steering Committee. And I have to tell you, without a nature park, we don't have anything to show you from the trains. We are so encouraged at the restoration of the park. We want to do everything that we can to assist the city, encourage the city. We'd love to see a native plant nursery on the east side of the park. I've even proposed put it on the other side of the fence of the golf course and don't worry about Measure AA. There's all kinds of solutions to some of these problems. So the bottom line is, we'd love to get rid of the fill. We want to be an active part of the restoration of the park. We've been told that we are the largest 501c3 public benefit corporation to partner with the city in any park, and we take pride in that. We have shut down the railroad when we've had conflict with ground-dwelling birds. Luckily, we don't compete with airspace with the birds. But when we do compete with them on the ground, we'll shut it down. So, and we like to think that this is the best way to see the nature in that park. Come ride our trains. So once again, we're so encouraged. The hard work that that Meg has done in developing this whole proposal, and we're really jazzed that this is moving forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you. At this time, it doesn't look like we have anybody else in the chambers. Do we have anybody online?
Yes. I have Henry Smith. Henry Smith, you may now speak.
Good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hey, I've been having trouble with my computer, so I'm a member of the Harbor Soaring Society, and in the last few months, we've been returned to using our flying field 2 days a month, and it's been quite enjoyable, and we've had what we believe to be a very welcoming reception by all the people that are walking by, commenting about, hey, we're glad to see you guys are back out here. So I'd just like to thank the city and the Parks Commission for allowing us back in there, and hope we can continue to cooperate going forward. The outreach to the young people that come by to want to learn about aviation is always one of the things I enjoy most about the hobby. So anyway, so I'd just like to thank the city for letting us back in, and hope we can continue to remain there as time goes on. Although I do notice that there was nothing mentioned about the flying field in the proposed master plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else?
Yes, I have Mike.
Mike, are you there?
Mike, if you can unmute.
It's the first time I've Zoomed on this computer.
We can hear you now.
Great. My comment is about one of the slides with a list of things about the park. The third is glider flights impact sensitive areas and should be prohibited. And the next line is glider flights have a history and should continue. Those are 180 degrees mutually exclusive comments. And I wonder which one is the comment that is going to continue. You know, what's the group going to recommend out of those two?
So Mike, this is your time to comment.
Well,
we don't answer questions during public comment.
Right. I was a former president of Harbor Soaring Society. I'm a member now, and obviously I would encourage
Mike, I think
Mike,
we can't hear you anymore.
my computer suddenly decided to tell me to unmute myself. Are we good again?
You're good.
try again.
Okay. Since we've been flying gliders again, we've interacted with a lot of young kids teaching about aviation. All the parents that come by, the joggers, walkers, the kids on bikes all seem to enjoy our company and have questions and positive things to say. So I would just like to encourage our continuation in the park. And that's the end of my speech.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else? Yes, I'm seeing a nod.
There are no other hands raised, Chair.
Okay. Barring none at this time, do any of the commissioners have any additional questions or comment? I turn my own mic off. Nope, we're good. All right. Yes.
This is for Kelly. How do you think, or how have you seen the Harbor Soaring Society affect the habitat around Fairview?
That has been a council item and a commission item on its own. It's a very large discussion. So I would not be prepared to present that discussion at this time.
And does the director have anything before we adjourn?
I do not at this time.
All right. Given that there's no more additional commission member comments, do I have a motion for adjournment? Do I have a second? We need a second. If we could just do a verbal, who would like to second that? Okay, Commissioner Glab, we are adjourned. Thank you all for staying, and thank you, staff.